The BMW R 1300 GS Adventure was revealed to the world just a few minutes ago here in southern Germany. It's the most hotly anticipated motorcycle on the planet right now, and I'm here backstage with one. So feast your eyes upon this bike while I go through the highlights, including a detail that's never been found on a GS before. To begin with, let's look at the styling. Now, BMW hasn't been shy about refreshing the GS lineup this year. The bike is big, it's bold, it's brash, and well, I think it's going to cause quite a stir. I'll be really interested to know what you guys think of it, so please do leave your comments below the video. But to me, it looks like the type of bike that is going to blast through the air rather than flow through it aerodynamically. It's going to take a bit in getting used to, but already I'm getting the feel for this new bike. Now, crossing over from the standard GS 1300 is this cross-shaped headlight, including the redesigned fairing. We've got a curvier electronic screen, and we've also got, well, on the standard bike, a slightly lower profile. Neil, if you want to come in and take a look at the tanks on the lower profile, where it's raised on the Adventure. And I think this is where most people are going to focus on the bike, because gone are the curved bulges of the 30-litre fuel tank found on last year's GSA. Instead, we have quite a boxier, almost Tonka toy style machine. And it still holds 30 litres in that aluminium tank, but the styling, well, it's very different. Power in the bike is a boxer twin. It's been a hallmark of GS's over the years. God forbid they put a parallel twin in a big GS, there'd be a revolt. Now, there's 145 brake horsepower, 149 Newton meters of torque, and this engine really is a torquey joy. I've ridden down on the standard GS over the last couple of days from the UK. There's lots of low air ground, there's lots of power for high speed overtakes, and I've no doubt this bike will take you, your pillion, and all your luggage across Europe for weeks or even months on end without complaint. Now, the joy of the Boxer, if you've ridden a GS before, is that it keeps a lot of the weight low down. That gives, or it helps gives the GS its wonderful balance, particularly at slow speeds. Now, before we get on to the huge amounts of technology BMW have lavished on this bike, I just wanted to spend a moment looking at the seating position, because one of the changes from last year on the standard GS model is the bike is a little bit more compact. It's a smaller machine, it's more accessible, a little less intimidating, but one of the results of that is, well, the standard GS isn't quite as roomy when you ride it. The leg bend angle is a bit more acute. So I was interested to see if the GSA is a little bit more comfy on the road, and immediately as I'm on it, I'm feeling more upright. I've got a straighter back and that adventure bike stance. The leg bend angle is less acute. I've got a nice natural reach to the bars. The bars are nice and wide, and already I think, yeah, I could sit here for days or weeks on an end and really enjoy riding this bike. Now, the old 1250 GSA was a wonderful motorbike. I've covered thousands of miles on it, but it was lagging behind in terms of technology with the likes of the Ducati Multistrada and the Triumph Tiger 1200. Well, BMW has caught up and it has lavished technology on this bike. It's difficult to know where to begin. I've mentioned this adjustable screen. It's electronically adjustable, which you can move with a rocker switch. We have radar cruise control. We have blind spot indicators, which have been wonderful on the autobahns over the past couple of days. We have semi-active suspension. We have various levels of traction control, heated seats, heated grips, collision warning systems, hill start control, cornering ABS, the list goes on. Now, the thing I've found with the standard GS, which has been transferred over to the GSA, is that if you don't like all this technology, if you find it too intrusive, you can adjust it. For example, the collision warning system on the standard bike was flashing up every time I filtered through traffic. Evidently, I'm a little bit too brave when it comes to overtaking cars. I made it a little less sensitive in the settings and it worked perfectly. Same goes for the hill hold control. It kept going on automatically on anything steeper than a Norfolk Broad. Put it on manual and the system works perfectly. And all the time you have a computer tracking every millisecond, every movement, every touch of the throttle to enhance your ride and to make your ride safer. Up front we have a 19-inch wheel, at the rear we have an 18, and they are spoked tubeless tyres. Tubeless is the right way to go in my opinion on this bike, mainly because it makes repairing a puncture so much quicker and easier. And for a bike that does have off-road ability but will spend most of its time road touring, that convenience is really important. Now if you do want to take your GS off-road, it does have generous amounts of suspension travel. It's 220mm at the front, 210 at the rear, which is more than enough for gravel roads, green lanes, and well, doing something a little bit more hardcore if you're skillful enough to take a big bike like this off the road. Overall, it seems like BMW have enhanced the GSA. In terms of technology, it's caught up with the competition. They've redesigned it to give a fresh look. I'm personally a big fan of the cross-shaped headlight. It works really well at night, and I think it looks kind of cool. I'm going to take a little bit more of getting used to the boxy tank, but overall it's big, it's rugged, it looks like it's got great road presence, and that's what you want from a GSA. It's a bike designed to cover big distances. Thankfully, it still has that 30-litre fuel tank. You'll be getting 300 miles or so between fill-ups, depending on how hard you ride. Sadly, I haven't got the chance to ride the bike this weekend. It was revealed on stage, and I've just jumped backstage to get a closer look. From what I've seen so far, I'm really impressed. After riding the standard bike over the last few days, I can say that the GS remains a fantastic adventure travel machine. I cannot wait to jump on board this and give it a test.